Hey, what is up, lovelies? It's Lynn the Gacha Goblin, and we are back at it again with part 3 with Sylus's Myth Memory. Oh, I'm so excited. I've been loving the story so far, so let's jump right into it. Okay, number 5. During my days in the dragon's lair, Sylus and I achieve a delicate balance. I couldn't obtain his eye, and he never brought up the fiendish deal that would cost me my soul. We live like true companions together in the dragon's lair above Tara City. When dusk descends, we venture out for reckless raids and return with our spoils before dawn. My favorite sight was watching the Judicator's army, who was being ruthlessly extorting people with warnings of impending doom, falling to their knees at the sight of a real fiend and a resurrected sorceress. The thrill of revenge made my soul tremble, and each time he would ask me, "Is there anything else you desire?" The dragon personally nurtures my ambition as he leads me from one raid to another, regardless of how dangerous the target is. As long as I say, "I want it," he fulfills my every wish without fail. Fate tumbles like an uncontrollable bead rolling into a bottomless abyss. Under the guise of helping me get my revenge, he feeds the beast in my heart called desire. I know he is. Yet slowly my heart gains new desires. This place, and over here, we've already been to these places, correct? I sit cross-legged on a new cushion. I eat some fruit and mark several areas on a star map. The pomegranate I set my eyes on gets taken away before I can move my hand. Ignoring my glare, Sylus taps the edge of the star map.
Didn't you say you wanted the minerals and starships here?
His tone barely conceals his excitement. On my shoulder, the mark he left faintly burns with a blood-red gleam in his eyes. I touch the burning skin and recall the sanctuary we raided 2 days ago. A Judicator's oracle wearing a splendid white robe is held up by one hand. A rabid bestial cruelty boils in the dragon's eyes. Back then, the mark hurt just like this. I shook my head and decided not to think about whether the pain was an omen of things to come. I rest my chin on my hand as he says a long, drawn-out, "Oh." "You remember everything I said." Sylus raises an eyebrow and takes a blood orange from the silver platter. I quickly snatch it away. When he's caught off guard, I arch my back like a cat and pounce. I press a silver knife against his neck. "Be honest with me. What do you gain from indulging my desires like this?" I pin him down against the cushion. The knife and bleeding wound dissipate into crimson light particles as he chuckles. Sylus looks up at me. We can feel each other's breaths, and he raises his head. His nose gently brushes against mine.
What about you? What's in it for you to attempt an assassination with such a weak hand?
Before the curtains, our eyes meet. The afterglow is reflected in his eyes, which emit a surreal warmth. A strange flutter brushes against my heart, and a soft laugh escapes his lips. Oh, my lips. I return to my original spot before peeling and savoring a pomegranate. You don't need to tell me. The greedier the soul, the more delicious it is. Am I mistaken? In any case, let's hope it doesn't backfire on you. Sylus laughs as I take out another pomegranate seed. He leans in and snatches it with his teeth.
Likewise.
Whoa.
You haven't fled because you're waiting for an opportunity to take my eye. Is that right?
But as I stare into his eyes, I find that I don't truly want to hurt him. Besides, the horns and tail, he's almost no different from a human. Aside from searching for places to plunder, the dragon and I often meet at the top of the lair. Sometimes I tell him the stories I've heard. He rarely speaks as if he's engrossed, or perhaps he just wants someone to watch the moon with him. Occasionally, the dragon talks about himself. He speaks about the myriad of dragon-slaying weapons in his treasure trove, and the 108 ways humans have tried to kill him. But most of the time, we just sit together and say nothing. The gentle night smooths his sharp scales and reveals his true form. The sun is setting, and the rocks still retain daylight's warmth. Drowsy, I'm in the middle of relaxing and drying my hair that I just washed.
Does your song truly need an organ? We already bought a bone flute.
I don't know when the dragon decided to lie down next to me. I pat his damp hair. Why don't I teach you the song since you like it so much?
No.
You don't want to, or you don't think you can learn it? I cup his face in my hands and make him meet my gaze. I just realized something these days. You don't understand a song's melody, can't see the beauty in patterns, and can't even taste the flavors of food. Is that right?
Dragons don't need those things to survive.
He escapes from my hands, yet I detect a hint of awkwardness in his words. You act mature, but you were sealed away for so long. Sylus, you're still a young dragon, aren't you? You only just learned how to hide your wings. I gently stroke the horns on top of his head. Then my hand glides down his prominent spine and reaches his tail. But you can't hide your horns and tail. Are you an adult? Don't tell me you're just acting mature because you're worried about ruining your fiendish image. The dragon stays silent and flicks his tail away from me. He loops it around us, and it touches the small of my back.
Are you trying to say you've uncovered my secret?
A defiant force gently pulls me toward the dragon's chest.
All right. Let's assume there is a young dragon before you. What will you do? Eat it?
I'd tell it that we're doing something humans call hugging.
Then do humans still hug each other, even when they want to kill each other? Like us?
Clouds drift across the sky and cover the moonlight for a moment. It's difficult for me to discern his facial expression. Some words are like the moonlight hidden by the clouds. Once the moment passes, there's no need to say them anymore. I roll into a more relaxed position and lie on my back. What does a human soul even taste like? We've known each other for so long, but I've never seen you eat. Have you never eaten a soul? The dragon remains on his side. He stares at me as if my face holds secrets he hasn't discovered yet.
Most human souls are disgusting. They're even less appealing than a wanderer's proto-core.
When I first saw you, you said my soul was lackluster. Was that actually a compliment?
Indeed. It's as lifeless as a slice of turkey meat.
Thinking back, I can't help but laugh.
Is there something else you want?
No. Maybe I just wanted to know if a dragon capable of luring humans into darkness could truly feel the human emotion called love, a desire that goes beyond mere survival. In his world, apart from survival and killing, could there also be room for organs and hugs? Or maybe the person next to me only appears to be human, and his indulgence towards me is just so he can obtain my soul. Sylus, those gems and weapons are boring. If you want to cultivate my desire, you need to give me something rarer. This time, I can't stand being the only one who's troubled by this thought. So I demand something from him he can never own and will never offer. The choice between your soul or your love? Damn. I'm gonna say your soul. I feel like that just fits. Your soul. The dragon's tail loops around me again. Its tip brushes against my cheek and lifts my chin.
So, I take it you're not talking about offering a soul to feed a fiend.
This is something humans do. After two people exchange souls, they never betray each other. Are you willing to do that?
How do you normally exchange them?
We kiss. I move closer to him and lift myself up to plant a kiss on the dragon's forehead. He doesn't understand it. He will never understand it. After the kiss, I turn and lie back down in front of the dragon, those garnet-like eyes inches away from mine. That means someone is willing to entrust their soul to another. Well, do you dare to do it? The dragon's tail gently pats my cheek.
Perhaps you should first know the fate of those who seek a fiend's soul.
Okay, we're in a groovy little tavern now. Tara City's tavern is always open. On stage, a woman wearing a fiery red dress has just left. Amidst the boisterous cacophony from the drunkards, I sit next to Sylus, who is in the shadows by the window. I wear a hooded cloak. How are the souls here? Does their scent make you feel nauseous?
It's chaotic, but it's still better than the hypocritical sanctuary.
Thud. A waiter has placed a wooden cup filled with red liquid in front of me before walking away. Under the lights, the dragon's roar suddenly resounds as an actor with dragon wings on his back sings center stage. Sylus didn't bring me here for a midnight snack. You're already a dragon. Why do I need to watch a fake one?
Don't you humans like stories? Watch it.
It seems to be a very long story. The actor who's playing the dragon sings for a long time without changing. Bored, I sit. I stir the beef sauce on my plate. Words fly over my head since I'm barely paying attention. The body next to me is warm. I wrap the dragon's tail around myself and move closer. Resting my head on his shoulder, I drift in and out of sleep. Other cities should be chaotic because of the Legion of Justia, but the people in Tar City still have happy lives.
The people here are like seeds. They only grow if they're fortunate. Even if they sprout, they might not survive the next day. They can only live in the moment.
Are we also people who might not survive the next day?
What are you trying to say?
I grab the dragon's wrist. Smiling, I narrow my eyes. I want to say something that's more precious than any treasure a human could obtain. I like you. I like who you are right at this moment. I turn away and notice how the dragon's face is faintly reflected on the window. I secretly watch him and notice his smile that vanishes as quickly as it appears. Stop, I'm blushing.
Turn around.
He grips my shoulder and forces me to face him.
Are you trying to move me with your human love?
I said it because I wanted to. Now that moment has come and gone. The dragon pulls my hood over my eyes. My heart slightly trembles, but all I receive is a gentle flick.
Too late. I'll remember this.
I turn and the story on stage has reached its final act. The actor playing a fiend embraces and kisses his lover. At the same time, he plunges his blood-soaked claw into her chest. At night, the dragon carries the sleepy girl through Taurus City's crowded alleys. No one spares them another glance. It truly looks like he's an ordinary human returning home in the moonlight. Sylus, I don't understand the play you made me see. Maybe I fell asleep halfway through.
Then sleep. It wasn't an interesting play in either case.
But I want to hear it. You must tell me, or else I'm going to have nightmares.
It's about a dragon.
Figures surround them. He could fly her back to the dragon's lair, but tonight he wants to walk a bit longer with her.
In the beginning, the dragon lived in a valley with other dragons. Amongst his kin, he was the only one with a human appearance. He mistakenly believed he was a normal person.
Oh.
But as he grew older, horns sprouted from his head and a tail from his back. He had never seen anything like this on someone before. He was scared. So he picked up a blade because he wanted to remove them, but the horns and scales would grow back, dripping with blood. It didn't matter how many times he cut them.
He turns and walks onto a small path. There are fewer people here. His voice softens as if he's actually lulling her to sleep.
After a long time, he finally came to terms with being a monster with horns. But then, the love of his life appeared.
The moment she pulled out her sword, he knew she was the one destined to kill him. She was his arch-nemesis. But somewhere along the way, he stopped wanting to consume her soul.
She showed him human love and companionship, making him think he could live like a human too. And slowly, without realizing it, he began to forget he was a dragon.
Maybe it was the first time she climbed into the cave's opening, and the morning light touched her dirty, scraped face. Or maybe it was her unchecked, ever-growing desire that reminded him of his old self. Or perhaps, deep down, she's also a little monster with horns of her own.
Yet a monster can never truly become a human. He cannot escape his fate as a dragon, nor can he love anyone for long. Dragons have an inherent tendency to toy with human desire. But in the end, they inevitably become enslaved by it and turn into true monsters. At the end of the story, he killed his beloved. This is the dragon's curse.
As he walks away, the lights fade behind him. He pulls off his cloak, revealing the creature beneath. His form with dragon horns and a tail remains. Sylus, do you hate humans?
I wouldn't say I like them for now.
But I'm a human too. Invisible wings slice through the air. Carrying the sleepy girl, he soars through the skies. What about you? Why stay by a dragon's side? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That like broke my heart. Oh my god. Okay. Alright, next. What happened that night at the tavern, along with the words we exchanged, is never brought up by us ever again. By the light of day, it became a dark, absurd secret hanging between us. Tara City reveals every night where shallow desires are easier to face than genuine feelings. In The Return of the Fiend, Doomsday's ominous shadow once again haunts the war-torn lands of Sylus. Under the guise of exterminating the Fiend, the Legion of Justia sparks wars across the planet. Those who dare to oppose them are branded as sinners and put on trial in the court of Justia. The sacred judicator's authority hangs by a fragile thread. The long-standing resentment among the people reaches its boiling point, and it's fueled by the Fiend's resurgence. Meanwhile, Sylus and I pay no mind to it at all. Our path of plunder stretches across nearly every corner of the world. But, amidst this feast of desires, as my thirst for revenge deepens, the cursed dark clouds gather thicker around me, and the dragon casting ever darker shadows over our fates.
Please! Please don't kill me! Spare my life, I'll do anything for you!
Yes, money! I have plenty of treasures. I collected them from different places. You can find them in the inner sanctum. The key is right here!
Black-red mist wafts past him, and the owner of the sanctuary twitches. He falls to the ground. I take the key from his stiff hand, dangle it on my pinky, and follow Sylus into the luxurious inner sanctum. I can't remember how many places we raided. The guards and traps in this place are remarkably sophisticated. They even managed to injure Sylus. Unfortunately for them, they serve an incompetent master. I bet those guards never imagined they'd be risking their lives for a cowardly imposter. Have we made quite the name for ourselves?
After raiding so many places in a row, I thought you'd display some self-awareness.
Sylus appears disinterested. His gaze briefly scans the treasures behind the door, before moving elsewhere, yet his eyes linger on something beyond a nearby sheer curtain. The wind lifts the curtains and reveals a massive organ in the wall. Its presence is illuminated by the setting sun.
What a pleasant surprise.
Smiling, I put down the jewelry I was holding and adjust my dress. I sit down before the organ. Melodious music resounds while the wind sweeps through the building. Sunlight casts a radiant glow and harmoniously blends with an enchanting melody. My performance ends and the sanctuary falls silent.
Why did you stop?
I get up and retrieve the sword resting near the organ. A requiem is meant to soothe the dead, but the souls in this place don't deserve it. Standing on my tiptoes, I move closer to Sylus. As soon as he narrows his eyes, I quickly step to the side and gracefully ascend the stairs. They were sanctimonious enough even when they were alive. They have no intention of praising Oh, I have no intention of praising their ugly souls. What I desire is... My fingers brush over the renowned painting adorned the wall. I turn, I lift the hem of my dress, and sit on the sacred throne positioned at the top of the stairs. I point my toes, and in silence, I hook my leg around the dragon's as he reaches the last step. As he leans forward, I tug him closer. To live freely and die without regrets. Our breaths mingle and our heartbeats sync. Light ripples in his eyes, and his lips slowly curl into a smile. With a flick of his tail, he catches me off guard, wrapping it around my waist and pulling me in.
Are you aware of your soul's scent?
He meets my gaze, leaning in provocatively. His breath teasingly caresses the pulse in my neck.
It's akin to a strong liquor topped off with salt. Forever boiling and never satisfied.
A shiver ripples through me, deep in my body. The mark on my shoulder burns with a heat like never before. I wonder what's boiling inside the dragon at this very moment. I have thoughts, but I shall not say them. I don't retreat. In this intimate proximity, I reach out to brush my fingers against his lashes. And you? What is it that you desire? The fading sunset casts a hazy glow over everything, spilling over his brow and rolling down his throat. He says nothing. I take his silence as consent, but just as I reach for his right eye, my wrist is suddenly gripped tight. The moment his skin touches mine, memories tainted by a bloody hue flash before my eyes. The blood-stained young man turns his head in the unfathomable darkness. He seems to be...
You ask too many questions.
His voice shatters the illusion. I return to reality, and Sylus has already released my hand. A sinister, blood-red gleam flashes in his eye. Where are you going?
I've never asked you that.
It's a shame I won't ever learn how to be tactful. The mark on my shoulder throbs and burns. I move ahead of him and block his path. Were those guards not enough for you?
What?
You still want to hide it from me. I sweep the strands of hair away from my neck, revealing the mark he left behind. Whenever your hunger for souls flares up, this mark you gave me stirs too. Lately, it's been acting up more frequently. I take a step toward him. Without hesitating, I caress the area around his eye. When our skin touches again, the mark on my shoulder flares with heat, and a familiar searing pain floods through me. I stagger back, yet an inexplicable bond persists and connects me to him.
Crossing the line again and again and again. Other than your desire, your audacity is boundless.
Suddenly, a force erupts, flinging me several steps away. I brace myself against the edge of a table, steadying my stance. As I lift my head, I notice thin wisps of dark mist slipping from beneath Sylus's hand, which covers his right eye. Sylus, you... Thick clouds silently shroud the sanctuary's ceiling. Half of his body sinks into the shadow, and he lowers his arm with a ragged breath. Black-red energy particles drift from the corners of his eyes, and his gaze is now completely drenched in blood red.
Did you forget what I truly am?
The oncoming black mist binds my limbs. Sylus's face is lost in the shadows, hidden from view. Something's wrong with him right now. The shackle around my neck suddenly tightens, and the pain from the depths of my soul strikes again. Are you going to devour me? No, you won't.
I won't. Have you spun so many lies that you've begun to believe them yourself? Shall I remind you? You are nothing. You are but a soul that was fed by a fiend.
No, this isn't who he really is. The mark on my shoulder grows like thorns. It tightens its grip around my body. My strength drains away, my vision blurs. With my senses slipping, all that remains is an empty husk.
So long as I desire it, I can feast at any time.
My body thrashes. In the vast void of near death, the chaotic screams in my mind slowly crystallize. Eat. Eat him. Devour him. Eat. Eat him. A thin streak of golden light bursts from the mark and surges down my arm to my palm, shattering the bind that holds me. The terrifying suffocation devours my consciousness, yet something appears in my hand and guides me to strike at Sylus. Warm liquid splashes onto my cheek. The blood-red greatsword solidifies from a phantom into reality, and I thrust it into his chest. His scarlet eyes widen in disbelief as we lock gazes, the air heavy with silence between us.
The dragon! The fiend has been slain!
The Judicator's oracle bursts into the sanctuary with the Legion of Justia, their voice frantic and uneven as they shout out.
Capture it! Capture it now!
My hand trembles. The sword dissolves, turning into light and returning to my body. The force restraining me loosens its grip. I fall onto the pristine floor of the sanctuary. No, that sword, I didn't mean to. Blood bursts from Sylus's chest, and the soldier's blades are poised right at his head. In his current condition, facing off against the Legion is a grave risk. Push open the door. I grit my teeth, get up, and shove him past the white stone doors behind us. The doors slam shut. I turn and snatch up a weapon, pointing it at the soldiers crowding in. You saw it yourselves. The fiend couldn't best me. Anyone who steps closer will meet their end by the sword. Behind the white stone doors, blood continues to fall to the floor. It seeps out from the cracks. The whispers of desire grow louder. The blood-red hue in Sylus's vision surges and boils. His gaze is nearly drowned in crimson. Ignoring the grievous injury from the greatsword, he only knows that the curse almost came true. He almost lost his mind and killed her. The boiling, nearly irrational urge to kill rages on, refusing to calm. The wounds on his body remain open, unhealed. He gets down on one knee, and sharp claws begin to sprout from the hand covering his right eye. An irresistible force pierces through his flesh and bones. It transforms into massive wings that spread wide from his back. The sanctuary's pristine bell tower trembles as a savage force destroys it from within. A roar resounds from the collapsing rubble. The mad dragon spreads his wings and surges forth before crashing to the ground amidst the human screams. Wings struggle to flap. He stumbles. A vortex stirs, nearly leveling all the buildings in its path. And then he finally flies towards the distant Taurus city. that was intense. Whoa. Damn. So much fun. So much fun. This is so much fun. Alright, we just have 3 parts left. These 3 parts will be done in the next video, so definitely stay tuned for that. If you have been following along with my narration and the story, I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I will see you lovelies in the next video. Bye-bye now.